What's going on, Big Pete?
What up?
How you doing?
Good, man. Sorry, I didn't get that going sooner. I was watching you win Pedal to the Metal 1.
Oh, geez. just doing some research.
Yeah. I Googled you, and then the video came up. I was like, I gotta watch this again.
Nice.
Which one?
Pedal to the Metal 1 with the dumbbell squat snatches at 100 pounds, where he wins it.
Yeah, you took both those events, right, Spencer?
Both of them motherfuckers.
Oh.
You took both of them. Oh,
well,
man.
Yeah.
welcome to the NCR
You were a little bit
podcast.
behind in the. You were a little bit behind in the handstand push-ups, and then you caught
I
up.
was behind because of the handstands, and then caught back up with those. Because what do we have to do? We had to do some rowing on the rower, and then some salt bike calories.
And then
dumbbell squat snatches, the heavy ass deadlifts. Yeah.
The kettlebell deadlifts was crazy.
Yeah.
One.
That was the first time that we had been exposed to those huge kettlebells.
I remember watching you demo that too, PT.
Did I demo that?
I think the squat.
I may have. I didn't do the squat snatch. No, because I remember it was with Matt Chan and I remember testing that event actually. That was like my first time that I was exposed to like Dave's, can you do this? And I was like, yeah, of course I can do this. Meanwhile, I had never squat snatched a dumbbell in my life. So he looked at Bill, he's like, Bill, get the hundreds.
Get the hundreds.
Oh my God.
Oh
yeah, I did test that.
Classic Dave.
Yeah, well, I mean, you know that too. You've been on the demo team. I mean, you've competed more times than you've been on the demo team, but
God, I mean, my experience and my only experience with the demo team, because I swore I was never going to do it again. I can remember it was 2013. Dave had me demo the burden run, which was the stuff that they did, the 3-mile whatever loop, and then they went into the outside stadium. They did the pig flip across the 100 yards, the log run back into the main stadium, and then that sled drag or sled pull for the 50 or 75 yards. And we must have did it 8:00 at night. Dave and Nicole both had a flashlight on me as they were following me with the golf cart. And it was just Dave and Nicole shining this flashlight on me. No music, no nothing, just me dying. And Dave and Nicole with their clipboards just writing stuff down. Didn't even know no words of encouragement, nothing.
Nothing. Yeah, when you're testing shit for Dave and you're dying, you'll get maybe a little like, nice job. Yeah, midway through the workout or something. Or he'll like shoot things like, do this set unbroken, or like shit like that. Like test it.
It's there's about as much detail as there is in his emails.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
We were talking when we talked to Austin, we were talking about his burden run there, his burden run experience at the end of the podcast.
He couldn't move that sled.
No.
And Matt Chan figured out just like lifting it up completely and just dragging it.
Well, Pete asked him a good question. He's like, what's your most memorable games experience? And he said it was that. Not necessarily positive, but that was the most memorable. That's the one he remembers the most. Let's start with that. What was yours?
I mean, I've had some negative experiences, and I've also had, memorable negative experiences and memorable positive experiences. So, I mean, I give you a positive and I give you a negative.
Go for it.
And quite honestly, there's probably been more negative than there have been positive, but I guess positive to start it off with a good one was not even at the CrossFit Games, was at the regionals, winning the last event there in 2015 to or not 2015, 2016 to send me back to the games for the last time as an individual. That was probably a highlight of my career. And then negative. I can go all the way back to 2009, the very first CrossFit Games that I competed at. Was doing very well up until the final day when they finally broke out some higher skill gymnastics. And the first high skill gymnastics they brought out was a parallel handstand push-up. And you could kip, you didn't have to do them strict, but it was very, very deep for me at that time. And I can remember being able to do like 3 or 4 and then just kind of sat there and just stared at them for the rest of the time. You know, I'd go up there, try one, fail, turn around, look at the crowd, look at everyone else still moving, and then, you know, just kind of very defeating.
Oh, terrible feeling.
So that was the first time where, you know, I knew that pressing was going to be a very big struggle for me my entire career until, you know, just kind of keep chipping away at it, keep working at it.
I think that's I mean, we'll probably get to this at some point, but that's one of the reasons why I think you're such a good programmer for athletes, but also for, like, you know, the general population. You really know what it takes to actually get good at weaknesses, you know, or like really turn weaknesses into strength. So we'll get to that. Let me introduce you first, though.
Yeah, of course.
Haven't even done that. Yeah, Spencer Hendel from. Are you from North Carolina? No, you're from Charlotte.
Yep, Charlotte, North Carolina.
Sure. Yeah, that's right. Charlotte, North Carolina. Been to the games how many times?
8, 6 as an individual and 2 as a team.
Yeah, so there's only a handful amount of athletes in the world, in the CrossFit world, that can say they've been to the games 8 times, honestly. There's probably less than 20. That's a huge feat.
Short list.
Yeah, it's a short list, man. But not just an athlete, right? I mean, you're on staff. You're on HQ staff, on the level 1, level 2, the competitor training or competitor course. Now the advanced coaching concepts, and affiliate owner, part of the programming team of the HAMplan, and now you manage one of the One Nation WellFam.
Yep. So no longer own an affiliate. I got rid of that a couple of years ago, and then now I just manage the facility for one of the One Nation gyms, which would be CrossFit One Nation and Waltham. Which there are 2 other locations, one in a town called Needham and another in the city of Boston. So I'm kind of on the outskirts or suburbs of the city of Boston.
Right. So you've done it. You've basically done it all so far in the CrossFit world, right? And
I've been around the block. Yeah.
Yeah. Your best finish at the games was what? 5th?
5th as an individual and 5th as a team.
That's right. You guys finished 5th as a team.
Yeah.
That
2017.
When it was 3 and 3.
Yeah, me, Connor, and Austin, and then Rachel Martinez, Allie Bushy, and Kate.
That's right.
Kate Brierly.
I'm surprised you didn't say one of your most memorable moments was winning. Was it 2012 obstacle course?
Like I said, there've been plenty of positive moments. There've been plenty of negative moments.
Yeah, I think what's really cool about you, Spencer, and I used to think about you all the time when I qualified for the games and then missed it 1 year, and then in 2016 I missed it again, and I remember just thinking like, hey, Spencer missed it 2 years in a row and he went back.
Yeah.
And he made it back as an individual. So, you know, you go to the games 2009, 2010, 2011, 2012. You missed 2013. You missed 2014, and then you come back 15 in a big way, finishing 5th at the game. So, like, what happened in those 2 years?
I think after I missed it in 2013, I think that whole year leading up to those regionals, I think, at a certain point, and this goes for all professional athletes, once you've kind of established yourself within your community, I feel like you could reach a point of, being too comfortable. And, you kind of think like, I got this, like, what I've been doing is going to continue to get me where I want to go, which that is a very poor mindset. And so once I missed 2013, reevaluating why I missed 2013, I think really prepared me for 2014, but I just wasn't quite putting in enough work or not working long enough to make any considerable adaptation. So, continuing to work through 2014 and working into 2015 on things like my pressing and not worrying so much about being the strongest competitor on the floor. One of the biggest things that defined me earlier in my career was just being able to win the strong or the lifting events, be able to have the best snatch or the best clean and jerk or deadlift the most amount of weight or whatever it may be. That's
First
what I
competitor to snatch 300.
That's a different side story. But just and my mindset just had to change. It's okay to be strong. Maybe come in, let's say top 10, but be able to not be last in a metabolic conditioning workout or in a long endurance event. You have to, in order to come in that 5th place spot that I did in 2015, you have to be a more well-rounded athlete and not have these, broad end of the spectrum finishes.
And that's interesting because I feel like around that time is when there was a little bit of a switch in the programming where there wasn't that much emphasis on pure strength anymore. In 2015, do you remember that workout? We had a 1 rep max snatch, but it was right after doing 200 and whatever feet on your hands.
Oh yeah, that was the originals.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And the year before we did that, the year before in 2014, we snatched and handstand walked, but we handstand walked after the snatch.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's like almost at that point where Dave was like, all right, cool. I'm sick of people just being strong. Like I want people to be strong when they're tired. And And I mean,
it was it was that year. I think I remember that year specifically. Was that 2016? What year
15.
did we do Tom? What year did we do Tommy V?
That was 2015.
15.
That was the first year of the super regional.
That's right. So I can remember missing the first snatch because I didn't have clips on the bar.
Oh.
I forgot to put clips on the bar. My judge called me out and it's not my judge's fault, but didn't tell me until after I'd completed the lift and called it no lift. And so I went into the next lift. We only get 2 attempts. We only get 2 attempts that year, or we get 3 attempts?
I think we got 3.
No, it was 2. I distinctly,
it was only 2?
That's right.
I distinctly remember it was 2 20-second windows.
That's right.
Because I missed. In both windows, I attempted twice, and I only made my very last attempt.
Yep. So I didn't have clips, so my first one didn't count, and I made a gutsy call going up. I went up to 265, and I hit 265. And I think even that was good for, I don't know, maybe top 5.
Yeah, that was like top 5.
And that was the year Austin hit, what was it, 255?
245
or 245.
45.
Yeah. And I don't think I've ever seen him jump that high off the ground before.
Yeah. That was so crazy.
That was an epic moment for Austin for sure. I'm still so bitter about that moment. I don't regret a lot of things in my life, but I regret missing that 280 snatch. Dropped it on my head. Yeah. But so since you're doing it all, right? You're a coach, you're an athlete, and now maybe not so much like a competitive athlete, but you're still training, as hard as you can and as often as you can to stay fit. But and I think that's we know a lot of guys like that are coaching and were athletes or are still athletes. And I want to know, like, what drew you into CrossFit in the first place? Was it the coaching or was it the athlete life? Or
it was the athlete. It was the athlete part of it. So when I was living in Charlotte, I was a junior in high school, and I was very, very big into baseball. Loved baseball. It was probably like it was a sport that I was going to get a scholarship to go to college. And in the beginning of my senior year, I tore my what they call the ulnar collateral ligament, which is the ligament that connects the ulna to the humerus. And they call it Tommy John surgery. And so I had to have Tommy John, and that sat me out for my entire senior year of high school. And all my scholarships went away. Like nothing was going to happen, sending me to college to play baseball. And so I was kind of beat up about that. I know it was a dream of mine to play college baseball, but it just never happened. And my mindset was, okay, I'm not going to get a scholarship, but I'm going to go, work my butt off, and I'm going to rehab and like do all this stuff to just walk on my college team. And that was the whole plan. And to start getting into shape for that, my dad had started doing this whole CrossFit thing. He was probably like one of the first 100 gyms in the world to start. And back in 2007, 2006, something like that. And so I was just dipping my toes in the water here just to try to rehabilitate myself back to try to play baseball. And long story short, baseball just never ended up happening. Just never felt normal to throw again. And so I started just doing more and more CrossFit, and eventually saw the 2008 CrossFit Games on YouTube. And this was where Chris Spieler and Josh Everett were winning going into the final day, and Jason Khalipa starts 2 minutes behind Chris Spieler, and in the last workout was 30 squat clean jerks per time, and Jason Khalipa freaking tears the roof off of this thing.
Yeah.
And I'm watching it, and I'm like, Jason is a freaking monster. He's a beast, and no doubt he is. And like all I wanted to do was like be like Jason Khalipa. And so I trained, to try to get to the 2009 CrossFit Games. I went to the regionals. Actually didn't qualify through the regionals. I went up to at that point in time, the regional was at, I want to say it was at Rogue Fitness in Columbus, Ohio, and I got my butt kicked. And I came back, tail between my legs, and CrossFit put out this last chance qualifier. And that was how me, Tommy Hackenbruck, Mike Geraldina, and Peter Egypt all qualified through the last chance qualifier.
Oh, wow.
And big names in the CrossFit community nowadays. I mean, Tommy Hackenbruck was a big time CrossFit competitor, won the affiliate cup one year with an affiliate.
Right.
But anywho,
was that an online thing?
It was an online qualifier. It was like 4 workouts, and you just did the workouts and submitted your videos. And
was it 4 weeks? Was it 4 weeks like the Open, or did it like kind of just like all
it was like you had like a week to do it.
That's crazy. That's awesome. That's so cool.
And
that's how the Open should be.
Yeah.
And so anyway, I made it to the 2009 Games, and I met Jason Khalipa, and I'm looking down on her. I'm like, this was not at all what I expected. No, on YouTube, he looked like a ginormous mammoth of a man, and little did I know that he was only like 5'10".
Yeah, I mean, he is still huge, but he's not that tall.
Is.
You're just
exactly.
You're probably just like the first CrossFitter that was above 5'10" that made it to the game.
Yeah.
That's very true.
I remember the same thing, man. Like seeing, and I've said this on the podcast before, like seeing the guys on TV and being like, these guys are huge. And when I saw them in real life, I'm like, nah, they're not that big, except for Jason. Yeah. Like Jason actually still has huge biceps.
Oh, they're ginormous.
Yeah,
they're
ginormous.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, like, you made it basically your first year of training. How long were you training for before that? Like less than a year?
Just like a casual CrossFitter, probably like a year, and then probably spent a year, really beefing up my training and kind of getting after it. Back then it wasn't like people are training now. I mean, it was hard, but it was kind of like the earlier days at the ranch, 2007, 2008, where Dave was just like, show up, compete, see what happens. It wasn't like people were trying to qualify. The first qualification year was 2009, where like I said, I went up to Rogue and then had to do the online last chance qualifier. And then from there, regionals and sectionals and all that stuff were born.
What did Rogue look like in 2009?
Oh, it was a small little warehouse. It wasn't hardly much of anything, just this, American-made equipment place, that was putting out all this stuff that, these CrossFitters, these crazy exercise enthusiasts were using. And, look at it now. I mean, it's like the sole supplier of any piece of equipment that you could ever want. I mean, not only just for CrossFit, but for strongman, for, you name it, they supply it.
Were you programming for yourself at that point? Like when you decided that you wanted to go to the games, or were you, there's a few big names out there. There's like, I don't know if the Fitzgerald brothers were putting anything out on the internet that you could follow and whatnot. Like, where did you come up with your plan?
Yeah, no, I mean, back then, I think CrossFit.com was a big one, to look out for. I was obviously following them, but my dad was actually kind of my coach and my programmer. Like I said, he started doing CrossFit in 2006 and started his affiliate in 2007. And he only started it because he was a football coach and, was the defensive coordinator as well as the strength and conditioning coach for any team that he ever coached for. And so as far as just fitness in general and like hard work and getting after some stuff, just grunt work, like he was the guy to go to. So, I mean, I was just like, Dad, I'll do whatever you want me to do. Just tell me to go do something.
That's awesome.
But you've probably been working out your whole life, right, Spencer? Like your dad played in the NFL. For people who didn't know that, he played in the NFL. So I mean, you probably looked up to your dad as like this crazy fit, jack old man to you back then, right? So I mean,
yeah, he's one of my biggest role models, and even to this day. And when I was growing up, I remember watching a lot of his football players that he was coaching, and watching them squat, watching them run through hurdles, watching them hit bags, watching them, just do everything. And I wanted to do all that stuff. I probably started like really like getting into like squatting and bench press and power cleans and like all that stuff, maybe like my freshman year of high school, maybe a little bit sooner, but probably not until like my freshman year of high school. I was a very active kid. Played a lot of different sports growing up, pretty much got my hands on almost everything that you could imagine, but stuck with football, basketball, and baseball. But, I pretty much touched everything.
All-round athlete.
So
I tried diving one year.
Oh, wow.
I was on the dive team one year just because I was just a stupid person that would jump really high and just throw my body into any position that I possibly could to make it look cool.
Were you good?
Well, I'll finish. And I can remember being at practice, one day, and we were practicing gainers. And for those of us that don't know what a gainer is, you're going off the board frontwards and you do a backflip facing forwards. So, we're practicing gainers, and I can remember doing, I don't know, one of the last ones of the day, and I stayed over the board, and I came back down. I came back down on the board. Hit the board, and just try to do everything I could to push myself back out onto the water, and that fucked me up.
Oh man.
Needless to say, that was the last time I was on the dive team.
Oh shit, dude, that must have hurt.
That hurt.
So you make it to the games for your first time. Obviously, you have a great experience and love it, and you continue to compete. When did you get on seminar staff? Was that something that was on your radar early on? Because I mean, at that point, they're running seminars. They've been doing it for a while now because the games came sort of after all that.
Yeah, my dad was on seminar staff probably like 2009 maybe.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't know that. That's
Something
awesome.
like that. Like he was the first one of like the Hendels to be on Seminar Staff. And then I really wanted to get into it when I moved up to Boston in 2012, and Denise and Austin were very big in the seminar staff, and they were pushing me to get on seminar staff, and so I worked with them and doing everything I could to get on staff.
Why did you go up to Boston?
I moved up to Boston to work at Reebok. I graduated college in 2000. When did I graduate college? 2011. And in 2011, I worked in the summer. I worked for my dad at CrossFit Charlotte, down in Charlotte, North Carolina. And all the while, I was kind of like putting my feelers out as far as what was available. And I can remember I was a Reebok athlete at the time, and Don Hasselbeck called me and was like, you should talk to Austin about working at Reebok, being a coach at Reebok. It'd be a perfect training facility for you with Austin. And at that time, there were a couple other athletes up there that would, make it a lot better training wise. And so I called Austin and asked him if I could come interview. And so I went up there and interviewed somewhere over the summer of 2011, and just did some, coaching some classes and meeting some people. And Austin and Denise actually turned me down. They did not give me a job the first time that I moved up to that I went up to Boston to try out. And I was kind of really butthurt about it. And Austin kind of gave me some things to work on, and he didn't expect me to call him back up or anything like that. He just kind of expected me to stay in Charlotte and kind of do my thing down there with my dad. But once again, just being comfortable with the things that this kind of becomes a theme throughout my life. But being comfortable, I needed to get outside of my comfort zone. So I actually called upon another staff member. She doesn't do too many seminars anymore, but she does our testing, Bobby Millsaps. And
Yeah,
so
Bobby.
I called Bobby, who isn't too far away from us in Charlotte, and I went down to her box down in South Carolina, and asked if I could spend like a week or two with her and just like coach and just like have her give me feedback and see if I can just be comfortable being uncomfortable, because that's really all it was up in Boston. Was I was very quiet. I was very unfamiliar with my surroundings. I was very uncomfortable with Denise and Austin being like hawks on me and watching me. And so I just, went down to see Bobby, stayed with her for a week or two, and then, called Austin back up. And I was like, hey, I'd really like another shot. And Austin, to my surprise, gave me another shot, moved up there, and kind of the story goes from there, but knocked it out of the park and gave me a job.
There you go. Then the bromance started.
Then the bromance started.
That's awesome. Had you done any other coaching before that, or was that your first experience kind of when you decided that you wanted to apply for this Reebok job?
Yeah, no, I graduated college, and I graduated with a degree in architecture, and I honestly had a big decision to make. It was like, do I continue going to school for architecture, because I didn't get my stamp, so like I can't practice. I couldn't practice right now if I wanted to. I'd have to go get my architecture stamp. But it was either go back to school or continue going to school like a master's program, or try to find something else that I'm good at. And coaching at the time seemed like something I could, at least get started right away. So I kind of started learning from my dad. And like I said, as soon as I was done with college, I started coaching at the gym and just putting in some hours there. And then it probably wasn't, I don't know, maybe 6 months of like actual coaching before, moving up to Reebok.
Yeah. That's cool.
I forget that you went into architecture, or that's your degree, because you have such good writing. Like your writing is so nice. And every time we work together and I see your boards, they're just so nice, in different colors. And
makes it
And
pop
the
in all the
little,
right places.
Oh, and
yeah,
try to
yeah,
put
and the
all
little
try
the stick
try to put all that
man.
education to something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool. And like, what did you find was the biggest challenge coaching? Because you're just talking about how, you know, you have this common theme in your life, trying to get a little bit outside of your comfort zone. And obviously, you know, you can apply that to fitness and competing as an athlete. I mean, it's pretty easy to get outside your comfort zone or force yourself to work on weaknesses when you're alone in your gym, or if your dad's just programming it for you and telling you what to do. But how does that sort of transfer over to coaching? What were the things that you found challenging taking that on as a new career?
Well, the thing about being at my dad's gym down in CrossFit Charlotte was I knew everyone in the gym. You know, there wasn't anyone that walked into that gym that I didn't know. And, you know, that was just from me always being in the gym. So I knew them as close friends. And then eventually I knew them as movers, as athletes. And so, you know, it wasn't too long before I knew that even with my back turned, I knew that Sally Sue needed to push her knees out.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's just like, I didn't even need to think about it. I just knew that Sally needed to push her knees out. I knew that Bob needed to get back on his heels. And so it was just so repetitive and redundant that it just didn't need to work. I just didn't need to do my job. And so that's the being too comfortable with things and not getting outside your comfort zone, is that even when I went up to Boston, you know, I didn't know anyone. And so I didn't know anyone from, you know, I didn't know who the Sally Sues were. I didn't know who the Bobs were. And like, I actually had to do my job and like watch people as they were moving, and, you know, do what we always do on seminar staff and triage people. And it's just like, my eyes were, you know, wide eyed and bigger than, bigger than they ever have been. So,
And even
it was
beyond,
different.
So go ahead, PT.
I was gonna say, like, that's one thing that I think about too, is the reason, the way to stay sharp. The way to stay sharp as a coach is to always get exposed to things you've never seen before. And you know, we're lucky enough that we can do that on the weekends at working seminar staff. It's like you're with a bunch of strangers. Like you say, like, it's so easy to get comfortable. Man, you know, Glassman said it best. Don't let your eye get used to their shitty movement. But eventually you kind of do, and you're inside your own gym, right? And then if you're not reminded every single weekend that, like, there is something to find, like, imagine you don't know these people, then that's the way to do it. And I mean, for you went up to Boston and basically, you know, had, like you said, those Hawkeyes, or like Denise and Austin, some of the best coaches in the world. Like, that must have been and it was early on in like the CrossFit days, right? So it was like there wasn't that many really good coaches out there.
Yeah, I mean, I was fortunate up in Boston. I had Denise, I had Austin, but I also had Eva Claire Sinkowski. I had Jonathan Gilson. I had a lot of old school coaches that helped mold me into the coach that I, you know, was going to be and what I am now. But it was a good situation.
So John Gilson, again faster. You were in on the again faster team in the Lake Tahoe throwdown. Were you there for that?
Oh, I was not there for the I was not there for the Tahoe throwdown. They added me to the list after that was over.
Because that was in what, 2009 then? No, 2000.
Yeah. I mean, I had competed, but they didn't add me to the list, or at least to the again faster list. No one, you know, until after the Tahoe thing.
Okay.
But either way, it looked fun.
Sorry for bringing that up.
Austin tells a lot of good.
I think they just reposted those videos on CrossFit on the YouTube page. But so I was going to say though.
Oh, they're great videos.
I was going to say transitioning. You know, you talk about the challenge transitioning into a new facility, being a coach. going from a place where you know everyone like the back of your hand, you know their movement, and you can basically just go on autopilot. And you know, there comes a point in this new facility where you kind of get to a similar place, right? You could say that at one point you're going to start to know everyone's movement. What do you do? What are the steps that you take to not get comfortable? What are the steps that maybe you know, at first Denise and Austin gave you some things to work on, and obviously as a good coach to this day, there are things that you need to remind yourself to do to be on top of it, and to constantly be giving people coaching where they need it, and be that Hawkeye that they're essentially paying you for in the gym. Like what are some things that you do to sort of stay on top of that and not let yourself get comfortable?
I think, like Paul was saying, seminar staff has been really, really good in keeping me ever so vigilant, so to speak. Just being able to go out every weekend and see people that you don't know, and remember all of those places that you should be looking for movement and faults, and watching the movement as a whole, but then also watching the bits and pieces of the movement, just kind of going back to what makes a good coach a good coach, as opposed to, like you said, getting comfortable watching the same person over and over again, and just knowing that Sally Sue needs to push her knees out and Bob needs to get back in his heels. And then bringing that love again for coaching back from the weekend back to your gym. And that's easier said for me, as you know, Paul and even you, Pete, we have this ability to, you know, go work a weekend and then come back into the gym and be refreshed and, you know, kind of with a new outlook on life. But I think those that don't have that ability to go out over the weekend and get refreshed, it's challenging. It's challenging to stay invested in your community and kind of, you know, always be looking for that next way for the individual or persons to get better. And I think that's truly challenging to find that motivation. It's a great question.
I mean, because obviously, you know, you could pay for the coaches development course, right? Which we run at our gym, and Austin and Denise, they've developed this course, but it's for most people, it's a one-time thing, and they're going to go to this course and learn a lot. But then how do they continue on? Maybe one of the things is, and I know we try to push this when we talk to coaches who ask us for advice, is do what you did and go up to a gym that has a coach that you look up to, and just try and learn from them. Ask them if you can sit in some classes and watch, or even be a guest coach and have them evaluate you.
Yeah, I also think that doesn't hurt to, you know, pursue the highest degree that you can in your field. You know, in our field, it would be the level 4, you know, whenever that comes out, or whenever that's available to the public. But at least now the level 3 is available to the public. And, you know, they put the post out there all the time that, you know, 1% of CrossFit coaches out there have their level 3. And unfortunately, those that, and we see it all the time at level 1s and level 2s, you know, people that have their, you know, gym or whatever, and their level 1 is running out, you know, they have the option of going to take the level 2, and, you know, that will supersede their level 1 and allow them to keep their affiliate and all that stuff. But people just go back and take their level 1 because it meets their minimum, you know, requirements, which is sad. So it's those people right there that, you know, there's really no hope for those individuals that will just, you know, do the bare minimum, you know, to keep their facility and to keep their comfort level going, as opposed to just going to the level 2, advancing their skills or learning new skills, and then even those individuals always going back to level 2 and not taking the time to study for your level 3, and taking the level 3. So maybe that's it. Maybe it's just always trying to pursue the highest degree that you possibly can within your field. And for us, we know what that is, but if you're in a different field, maybe whatever it is.
We talked a little bit about that with Doobie. We had Doobie on the podcast the other day, and it was just the people
Nice.
that go revalidate. Sometimes they're the people in the crowd that don't look super interested or might not want to be there.
They don't pay attention.
Yeah, but you've probably heard this too, is at the end of the weekend, some of the best comments and feedback that I've gotten was from people revalidating, right? So I think some of them come back and maybe coming back backwards, but then they leave and they're like, okay, well, let's go. I'm going to go do my level 2, write my level 3. Yeah. Spencer,
go ahead.
No, I was just going to switch the subject. I was going to talk programming.
Yeah, go ahead.
You're the one who programs for the HAMplan, right? You're the mastermind behind that whole thing?
That is me. No, me and James. I mean, for a while it was me when it was just kind of me and Austin. But now that James has entered the mix, he's definitely a very good resource as far as programming goes. And so, James and I'll kind of go back and forth on programming. But, if I put something in there, James will go back in and double check. So, kind of checking on redundancy as well as making sure that we're mixing up the movements as much as possible and kind of always, keeping it fresh. But same thing, vice versa. If he goes in there and does some stuff, I'll double check his work and kind of same thing. So some good checks and balances.
So like when we talked about when you were starting CrossFit, you had your dad as a coach. Was there a switch where you started programming for yourself, or did you always have someone program for you?
No, I would say maybe like 2011, 2012. I kind of had a good grip on what I should and shouldn't be doing. Especially like when I went to college, I would literally just get workouts from all over the place. I would look at CrossFit.com. I would look at what back in the day was there. It was like Seal Fit. There was like OPT. There was what were some other good ones? I don't think CompTrain was out. I don't think CompTrain was out yet.
When I came to the gym, what were you guys following? You were following like Rudy, what's his name?
Oh yeah. Well, I never did that, but Reza was it? Yeah. What was his name? Outlaw. Do you remember Outlaw?
Oh yeah.
Back then, every single program out there had like an hour and a half of lifting. And then like everyone just thought that weightlifting was the way to go. Everyone had to weightlift. Is that why you snatched 300 pounds? The first one to snatch 300 pounds?
No, I really liked lifting. I can remember just like at an early age, like my dad, like I said, just being the strength conditioning coach for football teams, like always had his guys power cleaning and snatching and squatting, and like I just like grew up like really liking that stuff. And then I can remember going to visit Coach Bergner out at Mike's gym and working with Bergner and working with Chad Vaughn and just like having these people, these resources to help kind of fuel this fire, this love for Olympic lifting.
I was back when you had the handlebar mustache too.
The old Hendel bar.
The handlebar.
The handlebar. I use you as an example, or Spencer, when I talk to people when they ask me, "Hey, should the bar crank my hips?" I'm like, "Well, it doesn't have to." I know someone who snatches 300 pounds and he doesn't even have hip contact. That's you.
Yeah, that's me. That's me.
You don't need it. You don't need it.
You don't need it. You just got to be fast. You just got to be fast on the bar. You got to keep it close and be fast on the bar.
Exactly.
So
what was that? What?
Sorry,
go ahead, Pete.
I was going to say, do you find your love of lifting kind of forces you to check yourself a little bit more often in your programming for the HAMplan, because you have maybe a tendency to program a little bit too much barbell or a little bit too much heavy stuff? Like, in the back of your mind, is that always playing kind of a role? Is you as a person just have a tendency to gravitate towards that barbell stuff, so you always need to check yourself? Or maybe now it's James that does that?
No, it's funny. I mean, when I was the sole programmer of the HAMplan, I would always, I think in the back of my mind, because I knew I really liked to lift, I would program more like gymnastics, just thinking of myself in, in the program. So I would program a lot more handstand push-ups, muscle ups, handstand walks, dips, pull-ups. Like lifting was few and far between.
Right.
Like the HAMplan could probably back in the day, the HAMplan could have used more lifting. So it was almost
actually
like I was too conscious.
It was like towards your weaknesses.
Yeah, exactly.
Spencer, what was it?
And that's, I guess, that's, I guess, I was gonna say, that's, I guess, how it started. Is Austin and I essentially wanted people to see what we were doing to, get ready for the CrossFit Games. And so, I wasn't really thinking about other people's fitness. I was just putting out there what I was doing.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And every time you walked by a certain wall in your gym, you do handstand push-ups. What's the story there?
That was the old school Rob Orlando thing, where he had he did it both ways. Like, he did like the bench press. He also did the deadlift, where he would have just like, what did he have on the deadlift? He had like 500 pounds on the deadlift bar somewhere in his gym, and every time he walked past the bar, he had to do one lift.
What?
Rob Orlando's done. He's done some crazy.
I think this. I talked to him at the games a couple of years ago, and it was like he would have 135 pounds in the corner of the gym, and when you walked into the gym, you just had to lift it, and then he would add weight to it every day.
Yeah.
Until you couldn't do it, until nobody could do it, and then he'd switch the movements, and then he went on this thing where he needed to be able to bench 400 pounds cold. So he did that in his basement by himself every day. He'd go down in his PJs and he whips up his phone, shows me a video. He's coming downstairs. He has his PJs on. He sits down. There's 4 plates on the stupid bench, and he does it. But so you were doing that with handstand push-ups.
With handstand push-ups. Oh yeah. Rob Orlando to this day still has one of the craziest videos that I've ever seen, and he has a lot of really good videos. You ever watch the One Arm Fran?
Oh yeah.
One Arm Fran?
He does Fran with one arm.
I gotta look up Rob Orlando after this.
Yeah, man.
He's done some crazy stuff.
He would have killed in today's vlog life. He was ahead of his time. He was doing videos of my favorite one is it's 200. It's 100 reps unbroken at a 225 back squat. He walks, and the video is not like fast motion or anything, Pete. It's he just walks the thing back and he just does it, and that's the whole video. And when I asked him about that one time, and he's just like, "Yeah, that was the stupidest thing he's ever done."
Really? He said that's the stupidest thing.
Yeah.
Wow. So, weakness programming. More programming questions for you, Spencer. Obviously, you were talking a lot about handstand push-ups and stuff. That's clearly a weakness that you worked on for a long, long time.
Yep.
What are some? That's a weakness of mine too. Not a weakness for Paul. It's a weakness of mine. Strict handstand push-ups. Yeah, exactly. Short arms over here. What's some of the lessons that you learned attacking your weaknesses? Obviously going to the games all these years, you must have gone through phases of, I'm going to do these every single day until my arms fall off. And then, maybe realize that was a stupid idea, and then, dial it back, and then you come up with different programs. Maybe there's probably lessons to be learned there, spending all this time, working on handstand push-ups. So what can you tell me about some of those things you learned?
Mindset, I think, was the biggest one that I learned, because I was very not good. Let's say I was not good at pressing. I would get very down on myself. I would doubt myself, and that would put me in a downward spiral as far as mindset goes. And there are plenty of workouts in training. There are plenty of workouts in competition where when I saw any type of pressing, handstand push-ups, ring dips, push-ups in the programming, I would just, that was it. I was defeated. You could put a workout together that I should win 9 times out of 10, but if it had handstand push-ups, any type of pressing in it, I would fail. I would lose that workout because my mindset was already down the toilet. And so I just think through the years of working on my weaknesses, my mindset would just get a little bit better each year. And it took a lot to change my mindset and try to be more comfortable and try to stay upbeat and positive when things came out of the metaphorical hopper that I wasn't happy about. But I knew that I would be much better off performing that exercise or going through that workout with a positive mindset as opposed to a negative mindset. And I think one of the real big demonstrations of this was regionals. When Pete, remind me, 21-15, 12-9-6, or 21.
Handstand push.
Yeah, it was burpee, handstand push-ups, front squats.
Yeah, it was 2014.
Yeah. So I didn't go to the games. I didn't go to the games that year either, but I did PR my time in that workout by 4 minutes.
Whoa.
Actually going from not finishing that workout in training to finishing on the floor because of my mindset and those handstand push-ups, because that's where I was going to fail that workout was handstand push-ups. But also strategy definitely helped. I was positive throughout the entirety of that workout, but I did singles the whole time.
Singles the whole time.
Singles the whole time from the very start. Singles the whole time.
Wild.
Wow.
What's
did you win that workout in that year?
No.
Did I what?
I can't.
PT, the year he went
did
to the
Paul?
games was that year, yeah.
No, Albert beat me.
Albert beat you.
Albert
stuck in there.
He just beat me he passed me in the 6s or in the 3s. Yeah, just a savage. Yeah. So Spencer.
So my mindset.
Yeah, that's awesome. What's your mindset going into fatherhood?
Fatherhood. God, I could not be more excited. It's like Aaron and I aren't finding out the sex, so we won't know until thing pops out. But I'm super excited because honestly, it doesn't matter one way or the other, boy, girl. I really don't care.
Yeah, that's what Pete did. Pete went full blind.
Full blind. It's the craziest thing.
When
in my mind, and I know in my August 5th.
Hopefully we'll be out of
mind, and
quarantine
I know, seriously. In my mind and Aaron's mind, we're thinking it's a girl, but we've had a lot of people tell us, "Oh, it's going to be a boy. It's going to be a boy. It's going to be a boy." But I don't know. I just have this feeling it's going to be a girl. So either way, we'll see.
I thought it was a girl the whole way. It was a boy. Are you gonna be awesome in the room and call out the sex?
I'm going to be in the room, and actually also depends on what this quarantine is going to do to us. I don't know if they're gonna make me stay in a different room or they're gonna allow me to be in the room. you know, for Erin's sake, I hope that I'm allowed in the room, because I know she's a little nervous. So
yeah, for sure. Well, our fingers are going to be crossed for you.
thank you.
So
It's been fun.
Go ahead.
It's been fun setting up the room, like setting up the crib and painting and just, you know, getting all that stuff prepared and getting ready to rock.
You got time to do that right now?
Nothing else to do.
Nothing else, exactly.
Except for training. Are you doing are you coaching some of the Zoom classes for your gym?
Yeah, I coach probably four or five Zoom classes a week. And then the HAMplan just started running a Zoom class for the Ham at Home stuff. So I'm doing that as well.
Cool. That's awesome. Are you doing that out of the pain cave?
Out of the gain cave?
Gain cave.
Yeah.
The gain cave.
The gain cave. Yeah, so we do I'll do most of the Zoom classes out of the gain cave, but I'll go over to Austin's house every once in a while to run stuff out of there, because it is much nicer and has a lot of fun toys that I don't have here.
Love it. I got a couple questions for you before we sign out here. One.
Yeah, of course.
Were you afraid of dropping the dumbbell on the judge's head when you were squat snatching that 100-pound dumbbell and chucking it forward in pedal to the metal one? I was looking at that. I was like, oh
God, I don't remember that.
I was like, these judges are putting their life on the line.
God, I don't remember that, Pete. I'll have to go back and look.
Okay, go back and look, and then you toss a message to whoever was judging you, because then there was a couple people there that just lost control of their dumbbells. I was like, holy shit, I would not be that close to the athlete. It looked like the Wild West out there.
Yeah, that was crazy. I don't remember that.
Okay, so you're gonna have to get back to me on that one. Second one.
Yeah, I'll get back to you.
How long did it take? How long did it take before you could officially say that you were stronger than your dad? Or have you
strong what?
Stronger than your dad?
Oh, geez. Oh, God.
When was the day that you were like, okay,
I don't know, man. He does some. I don't know. I mean, it's like he still does some crazy stuff even to this day, like mentally tough, like maybe not physically as strong as he used to be. By the way, I remember him rattling off some stupid numbers when he was back playing in the NFL. Like he would squat 550 for 5.
Oh,
you know, something stupid like that. Something stupid like that. Which I've never done, by the way. I've squatted 550 once, and I could probably, you know, back in my heyday, maybe do 500 for 2 or 3, but never for 5. But what did he do the other day? So he's got 2 gyms down in Charlotte, and they're about 10 miles apart. And so he's got this thing where he'll do Cindy, 20 rounds of Cindy at one gym, and then he'll ruck from gym 1 to gym 2 and perform another Cindy.
Oh my God.
And it's like it's not really like for time thing. It's really like just a completion thing.
Yeah, it's
just
like
20 rounds of Cindy. Can you do it? And he's done this multiple times now, and it's like doing Chad. You know, it's like no one wants to do Chad more than once. Even though I just did it for the second time, over the weekend, and it was just as miserable as the first time.
That sounds like that sounds like a competition waiting to happen.
I'm dying. You know, I like nowadays. I love the mentally tough, the grind style workouts. Like I'm done doing Fran. I don't need to do Fran anymore. You know, I've done Fran I've done Fran every which way that you could possibly think about doing it. I don't need to do Fran anymore. I just want to grind.
I'm just here to grind.
Just here to grind. I'm talking about what your dad does
here.
there, the 20 rounds, ruck, and then 20 rounds. Like you could probably get a good group of people from each gym for a race on that.
They love it. I mean, people love that type of stuff, man. People love it. Just love
People
beating
destroy
themselves into the ground.
man. Yeah, exactly. They just love like doing mentally challenging workouts with a group of people. Like the amount of people that actually do the workout chat is insane.
Yeah, it's wild.
It's great. It's amazing. It's doing it with people, you know. It's like knowing everybody's suffering together. Great.
Well, it was great having you on, Spencer. Thanks for coming and talking to us on the NCR podcast.
Anytime, guys. It's been awesome having you have me here.
We're gonna get the three of you guys in the HAMplan together for a podcast one day. We'll shoot the shit. We'll get all six of us. We'll just fill the screen with squares, the NCR program and the HAMplan.
And we'll mute
great.
awesome.
We should all work out. We should all work out and then do the podcast.
Love it.
Right. Thanks, Spencer. See you later, dude.
Thanks, guys.
Have a great day.
See you around. Peace.